Hey everyone, welcome to POPXP. And before the show starts, make sure to click that subscribe button and click the bell to get notifications when we go live and we upload awesome new content. And don't forget, if you can, make sure to share our stream on all your social media outlets. We appreciate it, and thanks for helping us grow the POPXP channel. Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's the brain of the mainframe here, Nile, Scala, the POPXP. And joining me tonight is a special guest host. And that's it. You know him. You love him. He's a legend. He's the first man of comics, Mr. Andy Smith.
Well, hello. How are you? I love guest hosting. I love being the oh my God.
The wingman.
I'm totally blank. I was going to say I'm the blank to your Johnny Carson, and now I can't remember the guy. Oh, yeah. Anyhow, hello.
How are we doing, sir?
Doing good, man. Hanging in there. Busy day, which is fine, and now going out on a high note. So having fun.
Awesome, yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. For those of you out there, Billy will be joining us soon. As you know, She Omnibus Volume 1 has launched on Indiegogo as of 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So he's wrapping up his launch party on EVS's channel. So he'll pop in and join us. And we have a great guest tonight. Someone who I've been following his art and his books, you know, since I was a wee lad in the 90s. And then when I started drawing, I noticed there's this little magazine that came out, and I have so many of them still unopened for my collection, and you could get drawn. Dude, I am actually
opened.
I found a lot of all the Wizard magazines unopened, so I have all mine obviously that have been opened, and I've had them for decades, right? And then I found a lot of all unopened Wizard magazines. There's probably like 100 and something here, not complete, but I think I'm going to do little videos and just like have people explore these books with me. But anyways, amazing drawing tutorials in there. Brutes and babes, just the head, the torsos, the bodies. I mean, all these amazing things, all done by one man.
Everything.
And everyone, please welcome this creator, this legend, Mr. Bart Sears. Bart, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
There he is.
Hey, Andy.
Well,
you guys know each other?
A little bit.
The chat helped me out. Nile's the Johnny Carson, and I'm the Ed McMahon. That's a good one, Johnny.
So, man, so awesome to have you guys on. I know you two have a bit of you have a good friendship, a working past, and everything. But what's really cool too is you both have campaigns going on, which is fun. But you know why we're here tonight is definitely for Bart Sears. Getting him on here, I want to talk about his career, his current campaign, you know, the comic industry in general that we have going on right now. But really, man, it's great. So Bart, you currently have a campaign going on right now on Zoop. And I'd love to jump into this because you're my first Zoop guest. You know, everyone's Kickstarter or their Indiegogo. But now we got some Zoop in the house. So Zoop? I've got to ask you about Zoop. What made you go with a Zoop?
Well, I've run a few campaigns and worked on a few back in Ominous Press, and I really hated all the work they are. I mean, it's 24/7 nonstop from about a week before the campaign, you know, to the end. I didn't have to do fulfillment, so I didn't have to worry about that. But I was not looking forward to it. And I've had this idea for this art book, Heads Will Roll, for a while. And I've been kind of putting it off because I really didn't want to start it. And then I heard about Zoop. So I talked to the guys and they were into the concept. So I went with them. But basically they run the campaign. They run fulfillment. They handle all of the nitty gritty stuff that, you know, I don't want to do. And they're invested. They aren't for a fee. They're in for a percentage. So they've got skin in the game, and I really like that.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. And I think this is just launched recently, right?
Yeah, it's 15 days ago.
Oh, cool.
So it's halfway over today.
Nice. Now tell us a bit about this. So this is Heads Will Roll. This is your it's an art book.
Yep. It's a art book that features. Oh, I got a lot of them. It's well, that's washed out horribly, isn't it? Can't see it.
There you go on that side.
There you go.
It's
Perfect.
just a bunch of
awesome
headshots. I love this size, 5x8.
Yeah.
I've done hundreds of these
Nice.
over the years, so I have scans of all these headshots of various characters just sitting around in my computer, although my one drive died, so I'm kind of annoyed by that. But so I got all these headshots, so I thought I'll just do a fun little art book and put it on crowdfunding and see what happens.
Nice. And you're doing very well. I mean, you've surpassed your goal. You're currently at 76 supporters. I mean, there's a lot of cool. You have different covers, other add-on type things. You've got right here. You've got the actual add-ons for the headshots that they can buy the originals. Some of which you showed, which is awesome. That's cool. Look at Harley Quinn. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was
Noctera.
the first day, and then today, for I don't know why, but the guy rescinded his buy, whatever the terminology for that is. So she's back up online.
We'll hunt him down.
Hopefully someone will appreciate her.
Nice. Now you have Omnibus Studios, correct?
Not really. I haven't been part of that for a couple of years now.
Okay. So it's just Ominous Press?
Neither.
No? Neither. Oh, okay.
I'm just a freelancer doing my stuff. I've got Maiden in Heavy Metal Magazine.
Nice.
That I write with my wife and I draw. And the Heads book and a couple other projects that I'm working on. So
Cool. Now, let me, if you don't mind, I'd love to just dive in and we'll go back to the campaign and just bring it back up for everyone. Because everyone out there too, if you can, the link to this campaign on Zoop is in the chat. Please share that on your social media, throw it on a Facebook feed, your Twitter, your Instagram, help spread the word. Also help spread the word of Zoop. I mean, this is another cool crowdfunding platform that's very new to the scene, that offers something different than Kickstarter, Indiegogo. It's more of a partnership instead of just a launch platform. So it's something you may want to look into. But what I'd love to dive into, Bart, and there's so many fans of yours out there. I got so many messages when you were coming on, but they kind of want to know how you got your start. Like, how did you get your start in comics?
The actual start in comics, I had dropped out of the Cubert school and started moving furniture, and realized that I didn't really want to do that the rest of my life. And I knew I had the ability to draw comics, if not, no experience at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew I was capable of it. So I did some samples and went to Marvel and got hired. And this was way back in, I don't know, 86?
Mm-hmm.
No, 85. It was 85. It was 85. It was a few months before my first daughter was born.
Oh, nice.
And quickly burned out of comics and started doing the deadlines and stuff. And I just wasn't capable of producing what I felt was quality work in a time frame that was even remotely doable at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they expect you to do a page a day. And, if you were going to work in comics, you did 12 books a year. And, and I was not even close to capable of that then. So I dropped out of that and started doing some illustration and some toy paintings for Hasbro, and then got hired at Hasbro and worked in-house for a year designing the Cops toy line. So
cool.
That was fun.
I loved that cartoon growing up.
It was fun with Berserko. And
who was he had the with the guns that came out of his chest?
I don't remember their given names, because when I worked on them, they all had names we gave them in house.
Yeah,
of course, were changed when I think Larry Hama did all the descriptions of them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he did all the GI Joes too. So
I knew that. I didn't know he was involved with Cops. Yeah.
I think he did all the Cops.
Did he?
I could be wrong. My memory kind of sucks. Andy can vouch for that.
That's true.
So you're working in the toy industry and stuff like that, and then you came back into comics?
Well, it was funny because Cops was sold as a cartoon,
Mhm.
and they sold it to DC to do the comic. And Andy Helfer and Doug Munch came up to Hasbro to talk to the marketing people, to see what this was about and see what the book they were forced to put out was going to be about. And the head of marketing, Kirk Bazigian, was a great guy, and he knew I loved comics and had started in comics and got out of comics. And he invited me to sit in on the meeting, and he told me to bring my artwork.
Mm-hmm.
So I did, and Helfer was looking through it, and he was like, you draw comics. I said, okay. He was like, really? I said, yeah. So he hired me to do issue 4 of Cops, because I guess, and this was maybe a week later, 2 weeks later, I don't know, maybe a month later, I don't even remember. But we talked a bit, and he hired me to do issue 4 of Cops, which was cool, which, is, I guess, one of my first red flags in comics is they need to fill in at issue 4 already. But
yeah,
the book hasn't even come out. And so I'm like, okay, but I'm quitting Hasbro. He's like, oh God, don't quit Hasbro. I can't guarantee work. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it'll be fine. I can do comics. Don't worry about it. So I quit Hasbro and did issue 3, sent that in. And he's like, great, this looks great. I want to, I got another job for you. I'm like, okay. He's like, I need you to do issue 3 now. Which I thought was hysterical.
By the way, I found your art for Buttons McBoom Boom. If Nile wants to share my screen, there it is.
He
There
is.
you go. That was the original presentation art. What they did is they took these drawings, they were 11 by 17, and they lined them all up in the conference room, and the bigwigs at Hasbro would point and choose which characters they wanted to make, whether it was G.I. Joes or Cops or whatever.
Fighting crime in a
that's
future
what these were
time.
used for. And then this was the basis for the final design and the sculpture sheets and everything else.
Wow,
There
someone
you go.
has this here. How did they get that?
This is on Pinterest.
I don't have any of them.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So somebody owns it.
Somebody owns
Yeah.
it. That's cool.
Yeah.
So when did you and Andy start working together?
Well, I started teaching at the Kubert School in, I don't know, some year. And Andy,
90,
there's
1990.
there's this skinny young dude that used to come sneak into my classes. I don't know, sneak in. He'd just come in. But
I didn't sneak in.
and he was supposed to be upstairs in his 3rd year class. I don't even know what class that was you were coming out of all the time, but
I don't know.
that was Andy. And we started
That was me.
talking and working together and struck up a pretty good friendship.
Nice.
This lasted quite some time.
It
Yeah.
has. I had hair back then.
Yes, you did.
I thought somebody was going to
Mhm.
say this guy that came in that used to have hair,
Yeah,
used to have the
Not
flowing
here.
locks.
I
here.
really have to think about it to remember him with hair. Let me tell you.
No, I have to as
Long
well.
time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you've gotten to work on some amazing IPs though. I mean, if you look at your portfolio, I mean, you've worked on Wolverine. I mean, who haven't you worked on really? I mean, you did some amazing Exo Manowar stuff, Wolverine, Batman. I mean, is there any IP that you never got a chance to work on that you would have been like, oh, I would love to do that?
Probably a straight X-Men book would have been cool.
Mm-hmm.
Never really did anything for, I did some odd stuff in the periphery of X-Men, but
Mhm.
never one of the main X-Men books. That would have been pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now we got a question here from Heroinberg. It says, will Bart do another crowdfunding campaign for the 2 volumes of Brutes and Babes, either on Kickstarter or Indiegogo for those who missed it?
There are no plans for that right now. I don't know if Ominous is going to do something like that or not, but that would be in their realm to do right now anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe down the road.
Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, because that's
They
a
are
great...
available on Amazon and from Ominous.
Yeah. Now, that's a thing, though. So, like, I noticed with, like, Wizard, I mean, you had those tutorials in there, like the drawing tutorials and things on that stuff. How did that come to be? Was that when you were doing a lot of stuff for Valiant?
No, it was before that. That was when Wizard was starting. To the best of my recollection, Garib's family shop was in New Jersey or just across the New York border, and they came to the Kubert School to talk to the graphics department there, which was ran by my buddy that I went to school with, Mark McNabb. And he started doing a lot of color work and design stuff for him. And Gareb was asking him about people to do covers and different stuff. And he's like, oh, you got to hire Bart. So Gareb saw my stuff and we started talking and I started doing some covers. And he asked me if I wanted to do a drawing column. He said, just do whatever you want. So I came up with Brutes and Babes and started doing it. It's that simple.
Oh, nice. I mean, I always appreciated that as a kid growing up and learning to draw because, you know, Wizard Magazine was something different, you know, because you go in your comic shop, you'd pick up your books, right? And at the time, it was like the cards were big too. So I wasn't just getting that. I was getting my 1994 Flair, you know, Marvel and X-Men and getting, you know, picking up, you know, all my books. And then I'd always have to get my Wizard because Wizard had like articles. So it gave me a chance to like know who the creators were. And so like all your name would come up, you know, Andy's name, other creators would pop up in these magazines. And it's like, all right, so now I'm getting to know the guys. And then when I saw that first issue that had one, I forget which drawing tutorial it was. Anyways, but I was like, holy smokes, like this is awesome. Like now they have those in there. And I remember it was Card Castle. Card Castle was my shop. It was literally like right around the block. I went to Card Castle, you know, and they were primarily sports card stuff. So like when, you know, but they had the little section there with all the comics and the cards and, you know, all the superheroes and everything. And I just remember, like, I'd always go in there and I was like, I forget the guy's name. I'm like, hey, look, you can even look at, they're showing us how to draw in here. And I'm going to make my own comic too, man. This is great. I want this, add this to my list. I don't even want to wait. I want you to put a wizard in my, and, you know, and of course my mom's like, oh, that's so wonderful. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And I did it. And, you know, I've accumulated them over the years. And, you know, I never had all of them. They're not, you know, then going online and talking to other buddies that had wizards and stuff like that, we were able to compile them all together. But obviously you have compiled them into the books, the volumes you have, but they were so great and they were so informative. And I learned so much about anatomy from them. How would you, I mean, have you ever considered doing a brand new drawing book or how to?
One called Drawing Power.
Mm-hmm.
God, that must be
25
years ago. I'm trying to think.
I'm talking now, Bart Sears. I'm talking now.
I've considered it just time.
Yeah.
You know, time is you know, most hated enemy I have.
What is it like? What is it like constructing though and developing? And Andy, you've done one too, doing an art book or especially an instructional art book versus, you know, doing your regular comics or even just your art books.
Well, teaching is, I have always enjoyed teaching because it makes you actually think about what you do. I mean, when you're drawing comics, you're just sitting down and, you know, I'd say pumping out the work, and that's pretty much what you're doing, but you're relying on your years of, you know, doing it and all the knowledge and experience you have, and you stop really thinking about what you're doing. So, but when you're teaching somebody, you have to deconstruct what you're doing, and I think it's a great way I found for myself to get back into that learning phase. You know, where you have to, okay, and that is why I did that. Okay, that's why I did that. All right, why did I make this decision? And I've always been more fascinated with the why than the how. A million how-to books, but I'm really fascinated by why that decision is made. Why is this one better than the other? You know, or you know, is it personal preference? Is there something in the layout or design, or, you know, I don't know, something down the road that, you know, is coming up, and you know that if you do it this way, it'll make that, you know, take 5 hours less time than if you do this little thing this way, you know. So I don't know if I even answered your question, but
no. Yeah. Times really was the answer to that question, is just having the time to do something like that. But the what and the why and all that. And I'm glad you explained that, because that kind of the way your books are and the way you explain things in your drawing books, I think that's what was easy to grasp, right? That's what was easy to understand, because you kind of explained why we were drawing it that way based off of your instructional book. And what was great is I actually collect, you know, instructional drawing books. Like if I see a comic book one and I'm just like, I'm going to buy it. Do I need it? No.
I'm like that too.
Yeah.
I do
like
that too. Yeah. I mean, if I see a good one, I'll pick it up, and even out of like, because I had some that are just garbage, garbage, right? But out of that 104, most of them are 144 pages. Out of that 144 pages, even in the garbage ones, there's at least one or two things I'm like, oh, that make it worthwhile. So
Yeah.
I just love seeing how different people, like Bart was saying, deconstruct things to construct them, and how they go about showing their method of putting something together.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's exactly, that's what I like to see, is what are their simplest forms? What are the simple shapes they're using to construct that complex illustration that they're doing? I also like to look at one thing I do find consistent is like the perspective. All the sections on perspective seem to be pretty much the same, but I do like really seeing the simple shapes, because some people really use simple shapes. Some do more of a pipe method. It's cool to see how they construct all that, but of course, there's nothing better than having, drawing from life and doing those types of courses and things. But for those looking to learn and start, I mean, like, you get to draw a naked woman. There's nothing wrong with that right in front of you, huh? But
I mean, it depends on what she looks like. So
what are you gonna do?
All right.
But anyways, Comic Book Bob says, I've bought every how-to book Bart and Andy have done. So much knowledge. Brutes and Babes was why I started buying Wizard.
Thanks, Comic Book Bob.
Thank you.
Cool. And then Thom Herb says, I think Bart needs to be the next Bob Ross.
I don't have enough hair.
TJ James says, there are no mistakes, just happy little mutations.
That's right.
So now with the art book we have going on right now, with what other projects do you have? Do you have any comics, any graphic novels, anything that you're working on that you can talk about?
Well, Maiden is relatively monthly in Heavy Metal Magazine. It's 8-page segments.
Mm-hmm.
There's 20 different stories that we're doing for them, and each of them is a different number of chapters. So I'm working on that. I just started another 12-issue project for a new company that I can't talk about, and a bunch of other stuff. I'm way overcommitted.
That makes sense. But hey, it's for the love, right? It's the love of the game.
Yeah,
that's right.
In its
survival.
It's survival, exactly. Very cool. Now, if you don't mind, though, I would just like to pop in. So, as I mentioned, and I have to bring this up too, because you're kind of a part of this as well, is we talked about your Zoop campaign, which we'll get back to and bring back up for everyone. But we also have another campaign going on. It happens to be my guest co-host tonight, Mr. Andy Smith's campaign.
It's doing great.
Yeah, it's doing great. Andy Smith's First Man #2 learning curve. You're now just about to hit 12K on this. Hopefully we can hit 12K by the time the stream ends. Come on, people. It's cool. So we'll jump into this, but as we scroll down,
it's there.
Boom.
Right there.
Intense.
Look at that bad boy.
Look at that.
He's hangry.
He is hangry.
He is hangry.
Look at the color.
Awesome.
The color is great. Ilaria really.
Yeah.
So good.
She's great.
So dynamic. I love that. That's what's great about
the colorist on this is also coloring Bart's Maiden heavy metal stuff. He got me in contact with her, so she's phenomenal. So
I love both your guys' style is just so dynamic. I love it. Like, my superheroes make me feel safe. It's not like they don't look like me, right? Where things flip and flop and flap. Like they're like rock solid, like, get behind me, and they take out blast, and I'm okay.
That's
everything's decimated around me. And I look up at I look up at First Man and he's pristine, right? And I'm safe. That's what we need. That's what superheroes are about. But Andy, let's jump into this a little bit. Let's talk about First Man issue 2 here.
Yeah. It's called Learning Curve because it basically picks up where right after the first one ends, where Luke Henry, who becomes the First Man, has to go back to Earth, learn how to become a hero, learn how to do that while going to college as a freshman. He lives with mom and dad. They're the only two people that know he is First Man and can transform into this super being. And the threat in this issue is a place called the Fourth World Foundation, which is these 4 scientists that might have created something that got loose from the lab, we could say, and they need First Man's help to control it. So that's the basic gist of the story. It's just it's him learning to become a hero here on Earth and learning the responsibility that goes along with it. He makes mistakes along the way. He blusters a little too much, and the Fourth World Foundation might want to try and take advantage of him. I mean, why would they do that? And that's the basic story. 64 pages, square bound, goodness.
Nice. And we have some new characters in this book?
The only new characters are so those were on the previous one.
Yep.
But I wanted to do the recap. But the Fourth World Foundation is new. Those are the 4. And then Adonis is the creation that comes from their lab that they need First Man's help to deal with. So he's the big threat in this one. He's the fist that you see on the cover, punching First Man down. And that is that's about as much as can be said without giving away spoilers.
Yeah.
Of course, I do the parody ad.
I
love those ads from hosted fruit pies. I would never say hostess. It's hosted fruit pies.
Remember when they were gone for a long period of time? They shut down and were brought back.
They took
that was
them away
horrible.
from us. I know.
It was horrible.
I will actually say though that I did Google search. I did Google search a hostess factory, and that is what that building in the first panel is what they look like, or at least the one I found online.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, so it's referenced. Hat tip to Joe Kubert for always saying reference stuff. Yeah, so there you go. And if it's going to come out sooner or later, that is Adonis in the parody ad. So even though I have the question mark over his face, I kind of spoil it right there. If you read the ad,
you have to show the awesome ad. You have to show the awesome ad.
That is what Adonis looks like. So at least the
now you
1970s.
might as well post his real face in there.
I know.
Nah. Let people try to. People that aren't watching this can still scroll through and figure it out. So the first stretch goal was unlocked. Scroll back down real quick. You can see the oversized trading card there. So that was the first stretch goal. So a 4x6 trading card.
Isn't it crazy? Trading cards are coming back for some reason.
I know. I love them.
Pogs.
So.
Well, weren't they only run by collectors? So
yeah, we got a good. Actually, did you guys have to deal with Pogs and stuff back in the 90s with any of like your characters or whatnot?
No.
I don't even know what that is.
I remember.
I've heard of it, but I couldn't.
They're the milk caps,
right the milk caps.
The milk caps. Yeah. They got real popular. You had your trading cards and stuff, and the Pogs came into play. It started off as a game, but then turned into like collector. Like you were collecting cards. They came in the binders and the sleeves and all that crazy stuff. But yeah, so everyone check out Andy Smith's First Man #2 Learning Curve, which has 26 days left on Indiegogo. You just launched that this week, right?
Last
2 days
Friday.
ago. Oh, it was last Friday.
Yeah,
That's basically this week.
Yeah, just 4 days ago.
Just 4 days ago.
Yeah,
nice.
So.
Just gonna refresh real quick and see if maybe. Come on, guys, break it to that 12K. Come on.
They'll do it.
$37 to go. $37.
That's right.
Go. Very cool. And again, head over to Zoop and check out Heads Will Roll by Bart Sears. It's his art book. He's drawing every day, posting a new headshot for the book. Mostly every day. So check out what he's drawing, and these will be in the book, and some you can purchase, which is amazing.
I started doing a versus. I did a versus daily shot, which I'm working on here.
Ooh.
If I can figure this out.
There you go.
Oh,
that is awesome.
Guys from Star Trek.
Yeah, Kirk and Spock.
That's right. Ooh, Darth Vader.
So cool.
Get that out.
So now in the book, will you have is there any narrative in the book, or is it all just going to be just the images?
It's mostly just the images. There may be some blather from me, but it won't be much. Mostly it's just an art book with cool headshots.
Mm-hmm. Very
nice.
Little.
It's 5x8 and 148 pages. 144, 148 pages. So.
We got a question from Heroinberg here. Can Bart talk about his artistic collaborations with Michelle? What is her background and what does she have out?
All she has out is the first 5 chapters of Maiden in Heavy Metal. Michelle has always written. Her background is varied. Right now she runs an art program for underserved youth. So that's her day job, which is crazy. I don't know how she does that. I mean, kids, my God. But this was her first professional writing job. We both wrote, heck, now I can't think of it. The first, I'm so bad with names. For Heavy Metal, they did this series of podcast of they were like radio plays, 1-person radio plays that they brought back. I can't even think of what it's called.
That's basically it.
I wrote that.
The
first one with me. God, I'm so bad. And she's written a bunch of other stuff that, hasn't been seen or heard of. So she's a new writer. But Maiden was essentially her idea she had in a dream. And she told it to me, and I was like, that's really cool. So I worked up a drawing, which I have no idea how to show. I don't have a physical copy of. But and we started talking about it and started developing the story, and we pitched it to Heavy Metal, and they bought it. So that's pretty cool.
Nice. What made you go to Heavy Metal?
Tim Seeley was like, "You got anything you want to pitch?" And I was like, "Okay, how about this?" So we sent him 5 ideas, and they went with Maiden.
Oh, nice.
So,
I love Heavy Metal stuff. I always have. Especially, as a fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and knowing Kevin Eastman had such a huge involvement with that, I explored a lot of that work, thinking, well, if I like this, I'm going to like this. And lo and behold, I did, which was great. Now, would you ever consider working for the Big Two again?
Yeah. I don't know, maybe in the right conditions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, the bigger question is, would they ever consider working with me?
It's a changing industry now.
Yeah.
I think
far different than when I started. Remember that, Andy, when we just go in there and wander around and talk to people?
Oh yeah. Oh, it's so different, just the way it's run and everything. So it's all, thrown up the ladder. When we started, an editor could literally make the decision, I want to hire you, done. Now it's run it up the ladder.
Yeah.
So.
Or coming down the ladder. Here, this is the guy you're hiring. This is the guy.
Right. Or that too. Yeah.
This is the story you're going to tell.
Yeah.
Right.
But they don't really have like that. I've never been to Marvel Studios, they're the studios where they do the comics and stuff, but do they even have artists and stuff working in-house anymore? Or is it everything just pretty much sent in?
No.
I haven't been to Marvel because they're still in New York. I haven't been there.
Are they still in the same place?
In New York?
Yeah.
They might have moved. I don't know if they have a bullpen anymore. If they do, they probably have a small production staff.
Yeah.
I thought they moved out. I thought they were in California and DC was the last one left in New York, and then they moved out.
No, DC. Flipping it. DC's in California.
Oh, okay. I thought DC was still in New York. Marvel was already there, and then DC ended up going there.
No, DC's in Burbank. They've been there for almost a decade, I think.
Yeah.
To it.
They got that wonderful Batman statue. Adam Lawson, Andy, who usually does some of the streams with us. He's part of the Weekend Pop crew. And anyone out there that knows what I'm talking about should be expecting his son any day now. That his wife hopefully will be giving birth to their first son.
That's awesome.
So that's freaking awesome for him. He's a writer, director, producer out in LA. He lives in Burbank. And on his daily walks, he walks by that Batman statue every day.
Really?
That Jim Lee had commissioned, and you've got Warner Brothers right here to his left. You got Netflix Studios to your right, Nickelodeon's over here. I mean, he's in a sweet spot. Hardworking guy, great friend, and really awesome and happy for him. But yeah, I can't, I have to say, you know, from growing up, right, with your guys' books, okay, and Billy's books and Graham and all these great guys that are now my friends, you know, what a wonderful life now. It's great to have those memories in the back issues, because the stuff that's coming out now, man, is just, I can't do it. I haven't bought
Yeah.
a new comic off the rack, and I don't know how all the books I buy are crowdfunded primarily. You know, or if they're just published outright independently by that creator, you know, and you get it off Amazon or wherever they're selling it, or maybe they do get it in Barnes and Noble or something. But it really, what's coming out right now, it's a shame. You know, I think what you guys had brought to the table, what you guys were creating, was just amazing escapism, and among your peers as well. And I feel like we've just lost that in you know, the mainstream comics, let's say, with the bigger publishers. Some of the stuff coming out from the smaller guys, I think, does still capture some of that.
Well, when we started out, I mean, it wasn't, I mean, of course, it's always about money. There are companies that want to make money, but sales were, at least when I started, they were great. I mean, books sold a lot. And granted, there were only, I don't know how many titles DC had and Marvel had, maybe each had 30, I don't know, in the late 80s with special projects and stuff on top of that. But I don't know how anybody can follow like a Batman or an X-Men when there's 8 titles or however many they have. I have no idea. That's just, I don't have any interest in that myself. I'd like one book, you know, maybe 2, you know, if you like split a team or something, then you go off in another direction and it's easy to follow too. But I don't know how anybody can be expected to follow the continuity they have.
Yeah, it is hard. Yeah. Cause I mean, well, think about it. You always had Batman comics and Detective Comics, right? So you were following, sometimes they kind of went linear, sometimes they went off in different directions. You had to do the 2 series, right? And the same with like Superman. You had Superman, then you had Action Comics, you know, which is funny because Detective and Action weren't solely for Batman or Superman, right? It somehow evolved that way. The Action Comics just slowly turned into Superman, and Detectives slowly turned into Batman, you know.
And if you liked Superman or Batman, you bought those 2 books and you were fine, and you could follow it quite easily.
Yes, exactly. Which is, you know, which again, I think is something that's, you know, you've got like 10 different Spider-Man books, you know, even the Hulk, you've got like how many different series of the Hulk. It's such a hard thing to follow. And the fact that now it's just, do you see a change of there being more dialogue than action in comics now?
Yeah, I think so. I still go to the shop every Wednesday just because it's a habit. I mean, it literally has just become a habit over the past 30 years.
It's like Cheers, where like, hey, Norm, instead of like, Andy.
Yeah, well, yeah, it kind of is. You know, whenever, you know, when I first started going, it was on Fridays as a kid, and then it went to Thursdays and now Wednesdays. But, you know, it is painful. It's a catch-22 because I don't spend as much money, so I have more money in my pocket, but it stinks because, you know, a big week for me is like maybe 2 comics, you know, and that's it. And I just don't care with what they're doing and stuff anymore. And like you said, not since I've gotten more immersed into this crowdfunding world, and I see creators like, you know, Graham putting out his stuff. Tyler Kirkham just released one. It's on Indiegogo right now. And other guys like that, I just kind of follow that stuff and know when it's going to come out and just wait. And then I get back issues of stuff, 30-year-old stuff, or no, not 30, 40-year-old stuff now, because early 80s, late 70s, you know?
Yeah.
And it's cooler to me, at least. So,
Bart, do you collect, I mean, are you collecting comics or anything like that?
No.
Well, no, you know, it's a lot of creators I know don't, you know, they're more busy just making the products than collecting anything or working on stuff.
I did a little bit. I mean, I did a lot as a kid. And as I got older, I was much more selective in what I liked and what I would spend money on. And working with the companies back in the day was great because you get a box every month of everything they put out. So, you know, I remember when Andy and I had a studio, we get the box, we'd each get a box, we'd flip through stuff and just, you know, crap pile we aren't going to look at and the stuff we want to read. And, you know, that was fun. and it was easy.
Yeah.
But I'm not a collector. I don't keep things for, the future. I read them if I want them, and they get abused. I throw them around. I flip through them. There's something there I want to remember. I accidentally tear a page. I mean, I'm not gentle with stuff.
Roll it up, put it in your back pocket, sit
That's
on
right.
it.
But you said something earlier.
Fly.
You liked how we drew heroes and they handled the situation and you felt safe and stuff. And I mean, that's how I grew up. I grew up reading Conan and Tarzan when I was, 6, 7, 8. I grew up with guys that did something and stood for something. And those are the comics I like. I mean, if I wanted to, if I want to watch a sitcom, I'll sit down and watch, I don't know, Friends or something. I don't know what even any sitcoms are anymore. But it seemed like a lot of comics turned into sitcoms.
Yeah.
Well, I love dialogue. I like comics that take me, 20 minutes to read 22 pages. I think that's awesome. There's meat there, but I don't want to be, pissed off because nothing happened. It was just people talking.
Yeah.
Right.
And I can't speak to it. I don't go to comic shops. I haven't flipped through many books, every once in a while. And guys will send me something, look at this. Can you believe it? Stuff like that. But I know for a while back, and this was years ago, they were getting to be talking head books. And, I just have no interest in that. Also, I don't have any interest in comics that look like real people. I mean, I want to see superheroes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's lost. I mean, when we grew up, it was John Buscema, Jim Aparo, guys like that, and it was stylized realism.
Yep.
Whereas now it's like
even Neil's
realism.
Neil's stuff was more realistic than many, back in the day, and it was still so stylized and powerful.
Right. But now it literally is. It's like, we grew up, and he went to the Kubert school for a year and a half or a year, whatever it was, and I went for all 3. But we were taught, you draw your heroes 8 heads high, because a real person is like 6.5. And now you look at comics and they're just like,
6.5.
Yeah. And now you look at comics and it's like, hey, look, the heroes are 6.5 heads tall. They don't look heroic at all. And I don't want that. When I buy stuff, I still gravitate more towards stylized art, but there just seems to be less and less of it. So, that's
well, it's like it's stylized in a different way too, though. Like some of the styles are very different, and we've always seen that throughout the years. There's been guys with very unique styles, but again, though, the styles you're talking about, like 6.5 foot tall head characters, like they're more. There's no exaggeration to the anatomy. There's no bulging muscles or this and that. It's like again, like a guy like me in a superhero costume, it's just, I just don't find it visually pleasing. And it may be a good story.
Well, you look through some of the comics.
There's normal people. They're standing around, they're walking around, they populate the streets. But then there's superheroes. And
exactly.
I took it to a bit of an extreme with Dark Knight 21, 22, and 23. I drew Batman. At least I entered into it drawing Batman as I thought people would remember seeing him. Just this monstrous dude that came out of nowhere and was just scary as hell, just huge. I don't think Batman would really be that thick and big, but I wanted to create that impression with him.
Yeah,
right.
I think that's how comics should be. And there's some guys and gals doing beautiful comics out there now. The drawing is crazy. I just think comics are, superhero comics are and should be, filled with superheroes.
Yeah, no, agreed. And again, like you were describing your Batman. Batman was towering. Like he was a towering character in those books, and that was awesome because like Batman kicks ass, right? And he looked like he kicked ass, And I will get it, like as far as like the more modern books go, I do like Greg Capullo's style and what.
Capullo is
awesome.
His stuff has definitely changed since back on
like Spawn
X-Force and such, and Spawn, but it's still very stylized. It's still very comic booky. Greg is definitely a standout. Yeah.
Owl's story or whatever he did, I thought that was great.
Oh yeah,
The what?
I loved what they did with the new 52 stuff.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know, honestly, I mean that those were the books I was buying. You know, Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's books because of his art. Because I've always been a fan of what he's done, and to see that there, because like I said, there's other stuff that just didn't work for me. You know, and
Right.
what he was putting out there really did. You know, it kind of brought me back to it. But then they moved on. But then he was, you know, then they redid everything again. Right. So, you know, but it was weird. It's like, all right, so that didn't work. So let's just say we're going back to volume 1. It's like, what? This doesn't make sense.
Right.
You know, and
well, that's the other thing. It's like, how many times are you going to reboot stuff?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and now Marvel does their whole legacy numbering. So, you know, literally Venom 200 came out. And it's like Venom 200. And you're thinking, have there been 200 issues of Venom? And yeah, when they count literally all the miniseries and stuff, there's been 200 issues. But to me, that's just a bullshit number, because to me, 200 means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 200, not 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, start over 1, 2, 3 through 6, and then you add them all up. So yeah, that's just the sales grab, if you ask me. But
yeah, it's for the collectors. For the collectors out there to make them unique or whatever. But I mean, we could talk forever about the industry now. I love the industry then. I love that you guys are still doing what you're doing, and you're constantly creating, and you're creating the way you want to create, which is what really your fan base wants. And that's awesome. With conventions and stuff, you know, kicking back up, you know, we've got, well, however you want to watch the news, you know, some say numbers go down, some are saying going up. We've got variants, all these things. Bart, will you be hitting any conventions this year?
Yep, I'm fully vaccinated, so I'm ready to go.
Fantastic. What is if you want me to ask you, what's the first convention you'll be heading to?
I don't know yet. I'm waiting for contracts on a few things.
Nice.
So we'll see.
Awesome. We'll be good to see you out there.
Holding off to the last minute to see how things go.
That's true. That's true. A couple of my buddies are con promoters, and it's, you know, they're waiting on some confirmations, but now that it's really approaching.
The Houston show this past weekend was packed to fulfillment. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Well, I do think the fans are going. I think everyone's tired of being indoors anyways. And now that they can come back and see the creators and stuff, I think they're all flying out there to do it. I know Terrificon here has sold a lot of tickets. I don't know if you even sold out some of his days already, but that one, cool. So that should be a great show. And that's happening in about 2 weeks, I believe. 2 weeks. Yeah. 2 weeks.
Yeah. It's the first week in August, I think.
Are you going to, Andy?
No, I'm not going to that one. I'm going to Savannah actually this upcoming weekend for a 2-day show.
Oh, nice. I love Savannah.
Yeah, Savannah's great. The guy contacted me.
Go to the Pink Mansion or whatever it is for dinner. Is it the Pink House or something in Savannah?
I don't know. I've been there a few times, but
it's been in movies.
Yeah, I know. It's famous, Andy. Come on.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Has it really? Oh, well, then I definitely will check it out. So yeah, I'm going to Savannah, and then
like screw that.
Oh, MegaCon, that's it. I'm going down to MegaCon in Orlando in August.
Are you doing Baltimore this year?
I hope to be, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I do it every year, except obviously last year. So hopefully, yeah.
I feel like such a dunce at the last one. Well, that was the one right before the thing. We're like practically across from each other, and it's like the last day there. I'm like, oh, Andy, hey! I'm like, what an a-hole I am! I'm freaking there for like 3 days, and I'm like, oh shoot, Andy. Well, you were on the other side there, you know.
Right.
What are you gonna do?
I have the dates bookmarked away. Just I need to talk to Mark, Nathan, and stuff. So
nice. Yeah, I'm hoping to go to that. I think it may fall on my wedding anniversary though, but we'll see.
Uh-oh.
I mean, what's a wedding anniversary, huh?
Well, if it's not a big one, who cares?
Exactly. I'm in it to win it, right? There'll be more.
If it's not 10 or 15 or 20 or 25, the rest don't care. They don't matter.
Exactly.
Celebrate it the next day. Who cares?
Exactly. I'm glad she doesn't watch this show.
Well, you're not saying it. I am.
As I'm going, exactly.
Well,
that's right, Andy. I'm going to go upstairs and be like, you know what Andy told me? She'll be like, I don't give an F who Andy is. No.
I know. Nobody does. My wife even says that. I don't give an F who you are.
Damn, bro. You just made that depressing. Jeez.
Yeah,
but
what are you going to do?
Let's see. Hyper Potato. So, what do we got here? There was a question. Oh, I hope Bart and Andy will return to HeroCon.
Well, considering I live here, I will return to HeroCon. I live in Charlotte. I don't mind outing that. You don't know exactly where, but yeah, so I will.
Nice. And then CB Smallwood, Bart Sears. What is some of your favorite comics you've worked on and why?
Exo Manowar, because he's a barbarian in a suit of armor. Love Exo. Dark Knight. Both of the Dark Knight things I did were just a blast. Justice League Europe. I enjoyed more thinking about it than I did working on it. It was a lot of work for a new guy in the industry doing a hero book with all those heroes. That was kind of tough, but it was a lot of fun. I'd love to redo that book someday. I'd go back to DC to do the stuff, but they have no interest in that ever. So
have you tried to pitch it by any chance?
Keith has. I think Keith does every year.
Yeah.
And,
I'm a DC guy, so I would love for that to happen. No offense to the Marvel people out there, but my heart does go to DC still.
Blade. I love Blade. I wish the scheduling worked out better so I could have actually drawn it. That would have been fun, because I really love that character. I love the story I came up for him. But luckily, Andy stepped in, and Sienkiewicz did finishes on me, which was pretty cool. So that's what comes to mind right now.
No, let me ask you guys, like in the process of comic creating, right? Do you enjoy? Well, I'm sure there's probably joys in each aspect of it, but if you had to choose one, would you rather write the books or pencil the books?
Oh, I mean, I'd rather draw the stuff. So,
Right.
I like drawing.
Right.
Yeah, I don't like to draw.
Oh.
Sorry.
I know. Every time he says that, just a little part of me dies.
I don't like to draw, but I'm good at it. Hey, it's like a trade, right? That's what I tell people, man. The practice, right? You know, drawing is just like any other trade. I mean, the longer you do it, the more you do it, the better you get. Do you find what's that?
I never really wanted to do it. I always wanted to write and make movies, so I had a family to support, so I started drawing comics. But most artists I know have sketchbooks and all this stuff, and they draw when they're free time. I never ever have.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, you know, it's funny. I won't drop names on it, but there's a lot of other artists that say the same thing. And well-known guys are like, "Oh, I would wholeheartedly just write. I like the writing part of it." But I want to ask you a question.
So many writers, and they have it so easy.
Yeah. So I was on Twitter, was it yesterday, and I saw a post, and it was someone had posted, you know, how they get offended when someone says, you know, oh, you know, what a talent God gave you to draw and all this, and their argument was like, it's not a God-given talent. Like, I worked for this talent. Do you think it's a God-given talent, or do you think it's, you know, it's anyone can do it, but you got to work for it?
I think there's a talent. I mean, everybody has something. Well, maybe everybody doesn't. I don't know. Some people, or maybe everybody has a talent. Some people find it. Some people don't. I'm not a religious person, so I don't know about the God-given aspect of that. But I was, from 3 or 4, able to construct human figures out of clay and to draw fairly decent stuff. And I worked at it. And worked at it. And I spent my entire, I don't know, from 10 to 17, because 17 to 18 was kind of a different kind of year, and it's a senior in high school. But, you know, I worked hard with the goal of drawing comics. And I don't know a single guy that draws comics that didn't work his butt off to get there. And I've taught a lot of people, and I mean, people can learn to a certain degree, but I think there are different levels that people can get to, and I think that depends on talent.
Yeah.
I know people that have worked years to try to draw, and they just will never get there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I always say that, kids, all 2-year-olds like to draw, and then eventually, like my daughter, they just stop because they move on to different things. But the difference is we don't stop. There's just something in us that drives us to keep doing it and wanting to get better. But at the same time, like Bart said, there's just, there's other people that have done that as well. And they just, they
Andy,
just
don't you
peak.
think the reason we kept going is we started to like and see what we could do?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
totally.
and other people stopped because they couldn't, they didn't start getting better. They didn't start seeing stuff look better.
Right.
I equate it to, professional athletes. I mean,
Yeah.
they start playing, basketball or something, and they're really good at it. So they keep playing it from, the time they're 8 or 9 or 10. And by the time they're 18, they're pretty much gods at the sport, better than any one of us schlubs will ever dream of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the young gymnasts, all the Olympic gymnasts are like what, 16, 17, and 18. And they started doing it when they were really young. They fell in love with it, and they just really worked their ass off at it. Now, I'm not saying by any means I could have been a basketball player, but serious aside, or serious thing is, I just never enjoyed playing sports as a kid. My brother liked playing basketball, but I'd get out there and goof around, and I just didn't care. But if I enjoyed it and really wanted to work at it, I could have got better at it, but I just didn't, because I'd rather.
You might have said, hey, this is a lot more fun than I thought.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, a lot of people don't know, I was a ladies' man in my youth. So because I was so good at scoring with the chicks.
He's like, can I draw you this evening?
I was just like, one after the other, just come on, because you're so good at it. Bart will tell you. He knew me when I was single and fly.
Fly.
I can't really corroborate that story.
Well, it's like you said earlier, your memory sucks.
We got a $5 super chat here from Old Dirty Fatty. I had one of me more embarrassing moments at a con in the 90s when I complimented the exit wounds in Turok 1. You uncomfortably thanked me.
That's awesome. Oh, that's great.
Thank you for that, Old Dirty Fatty. TJ James says, and more important question, is there a shot of MODOK in Heads Will Roll?
Oh, you got to do that because he's just ahead.
There is not, but I think he might be in one of the daily contests, and if he
Ooh.
wins, he'll get in.
Yeah, because
the only time I think I've drawn MODOK is for a toy.
That's the last time you drew him?
I think it's the only time.
Did you watch his series on Hulu by any chance?
He had a series on Hulu?
He has a series on Hulu.
Cartoon, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's almost like a claymation-y type series. It's humorous.
Oh, that sort of rings a bell, but no, I've never watched it.
Yeah, it's a humorous little
Never
ditty.
watched it.
I won't, but whatever. It's stupid.
So
whatever. Why did I mention it?
As
It's
a
dumb.
kid, I was so starved for superhero movies and superhero TV shows, and we had Red Jones's Captain America, and there's so many shows now, and I don't even know how many there are, and I barely watch any of them. But
Yeah.
what comics either, so there's that.
Well, so everyone out there, please, again, take a trip over to Zoop and check out Heads Will Roll, which has 15 days worth of funding on it.
We're almost to our first stretch goal.
Yes, and your first stretch goal is
10 grand, and if we get to 14, there's a stretch goal at 12, which I'll sign every book.
Nice.
And then at 14 grand, we'll add on a boatload of pages.
Very cool. Very cool. So everyone, check that out. And if you can, make sure to share that on your social media. For those live or watching this recorded, please share this campaign on all your social media outlets, your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter. If you're a fellow streamer and you think this would be, Bart may be a great guest for you, is there a way anyone can reach out to you if they may want to have you on the show to help promote this?
Yeah, email me at bartsearsart.com. I think that's it. I better check. Hang on.
All right. And while he's double checking on that, make sure to head on over to Indiegogo and hit up Andy Smith's First Man #2 Learning Curve. I'm going to just refresh this.
It's Bart Sears Art at gmail.com.
Not yet. Oh well.
All right. Not yet. You'll get it. Go on. Jump on Ethan's show. You'll get it. Boom.
I know.
But I really appreciate any help anybody can give me out there, any support, any sharing, any likes, and certainly pleasure.
Sharing is caring.
There you go.
Awesome. Fantastic. And do you think, like, with crowdfunding, Bart, I mean, are you going to explore that avenue down the road, do you think? Like a bunch of the other creators are doing?
Oh, yeah. I'm you know, I don't know what exactly or when yet, but yeah, I'll definitely be doing more.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. And while we're at it, we'll give a shout out for my buddy, my partner on the POPXP, Mr. Billy Tucci. She Omnibus Edition Volume 1 Indiegogo exclusive is up. Launched at 7 p.m. today. Is now at...
Billy's crushing it.
Jeez Louise.
How many backers does he have now?
457 backers.
Nice.
He's currently at $51,983. If you have explored She Return of the Warrior and you want to know where it all began, I highly recommend you get the omnibus. It's Way of the Warrior 1 through 12, Tomo issues 1 through 3, and then She versus Tomo one shot. I think it was a 48-page. Really cool stuff. Some great names have worked on this IP. Here's an Amanda. If you guys are fans of Amanda Connor, right here, this is from 1995. This is Tomo. This is drawn by Amanda Connor. I mean, still amazing. I mean, she's an amazing artist. Still is. Very cool. So, guys, check that out. And Bart, man, thanks so much for coming on the stream.
Oh, thanks
we'd love to have you come back on for one of more of our, little
whatever
drinking
you want,
nights.
man.
Little drinking nights, you know what I mean? We'll get the boys on, have a good time.
Give me
There you go.
Yeah, we'll eat wings and get drunk. Woo! I'm actually, no joke. So I've been talking to, small brewers, micro brews and things like that. And I'm trying to get them to ship out. Like, I'm like, oh, hey, this is what I'm doing. These are some of the guests that have agreed to do it. And, can you ship your beer out? Can we taste test your beer live on one of our streams? And everyone gets like a package sent. Maybe it's a bottle each of all their beers. And I actually have a few. So I'm out of Connecticut, Bart.
Nice.
So a few of the microbrews here are like, yeah, that's a pretty cool idea. And they're like, yeah, we can ship. Well, one of them was like, well, we'd have to probably talk to a local store in their area or somewhere that we could ship to, because I guess there's weird rules about shipping alcohol. But I think that would be cool. Just try some different beers live. Give a thought, then give a shout out, and I think that'd be great. So we will definitely do that. We'll definitely do that. So, gentlemen, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on the show tonight. Tomorrow night, everyone, we will be on with Chuck Dixon and Frank Fosco. They have collaborated for something big. I don't know. They said they had something big to talk about. So we'll check that out with them, and we'll hang out for a little bit and see what they have going on. See how Chuck's been.
For Frank Fosco.
I know, right? Isn't it? Maybe they're brothers. What's funny? I was like, what image haven't I used of Chuck yet? Because there's not many out there. And God forbid, I'm not gonna be like, hey, Chuck, take a selfie for me. I'm not doing that.
You should have just used one from like 30 years ago.
I know, right? I that's what I should start doing. Just start finding really awkward photos of everyone, and then especially guys that don't know me, like, who the hell is this guy, and what photo did he use? But yeah, so that'd be cool chatting with them. It's been a while since we talked to them. And then Thursday, everyone, if you can join us, we got the Weekend Pop. And then Friday, we got a cool happy hour going on. It's going to be kind of like some Bonnie and Clydes, as I call it, in the industry. We're going to have Billy and Deb on. We've got Brian and Francesca Polito. And we have, we have Jeff and Vijaya Smith on. And one is the last couple is yet to confirm. They've been on the show before, so it's not like an amazing surprise for everyone. But I'm not going to give the name yet because I didn't get a confirmation. But they're going to do that little San Diego Comic-Con happy hour thing. And I'm going to be the creepy guy backstage watching them. Yeah.
Are they doing, is that, I don't even know, is the whole online San Diego thing, is that this weekend?
It's this week right now. It's going on right now.
Right now?
It's going on right now, yeah.
No idea.
But you know what's weird? Like I haven't seen, like last year was a major push. Like I saw marketing stuff out the wazoo.
Oh yeah,
but this year
that's why
I
know.
have not seen much of anything.
I didn't even know it was happening.
Yeah.
Well, they did it last year, but Marvel and DC participated, but they're not this year, from what I heard. So
no, because they're supposed to, because it's still going to happen. But see, now they're going to do it in the fall. So the fall is going to be crazy because you're going to have.
Dude, they're doing it. If you're talking about like the small San Diego, they're doing it's like the week of it's Thanksgiving weekend, I think.
Yeah, it's something crazy. And it's like limited to X amount of guests or something. There's, I don't even know if it's like, I forget, what was it, like 700 or 1700? It was something really small. But we'll see. I'm going to do New York this year. That should be fun. I'll do New York. Cool. And, we'll see. We'll see. And then maybe do Big Apple Con. I might do that one.
That's cool.
And then Baltimore, I'm hoping. So,
yeah.
That's all I got so far this year. And I don't think I'm going to do too much. I'm still a little leery with things, especially because I have kids. They're not vaccinated yet. So you can technically still carry or whatever, even when you're vaccinated. So I still want to be careful with them right now. But anyways, again, I want to thank Bart. Thanks so much for coming on. Andy, it's always a pleasure. Bart, you're always welcome on whenever you want to come hang out with us. If you see a promo and it's someone you want to catch up with or someone you have a good time with, you're always welcome to jump on the stream. We're not black and white here. So everyone, I hope you all have a great night. We'll see you all tomorrow night at 9 p.m. with Chuck Dixon and Frank Fosco. And again, help support those campaigns. You can find the links for all those campaigns in the description for this show after it processes. All right, we'll see everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us on POPXP. If you haven't already, make sure to click that subscribe button and also click the bell for notifications when we go live and we upload some awesome new content. Also, don't forget to head on over to Twitter and follow us at the POPXP and over on Instagram at the POPXP. Thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you soon.